Well, I mean, keeping it to this year's situation and, fresh off of a series where you came kind of down in the middle of it, how disappointing is it, to have this day earlier than everybody would expect? These are never easy days, I would imagine.
It's disappointing. I think this organization has high standards, and we had a chance to really make history and solidify a legacy, winning 3 in a row. And obviously that's very difficult, right? It's difficult, and you know what? Like I said, it's just disappointing. We just didn't have it, and it's just tough to say. Like I can't really pinpoint on just one thing on what our issues were, what the problem was, and then that's just that. We went through a lot of adversity this year, and we really battled back to try prove we can do it, and we just fell short.
From an off the ice perspective, it's probably, if you have a tight team, these aren't easy days to say goodbye to teammates, whether you finish winning or losing. Is that your experience when it comes to the game of hockey, how close you get? These tough days, everybody going their separate ways for a while.
Yeah, you know what? And you know what? And you know what? I was new to this team, and I could see, this was a good group, and obviously they had key guys leave last year in the summer and throughout the year, and for the guys that were here, you can tell through the exhaustion of winning 2 in a row, and trying to push and keep going, and I'll give them their credit. They put in the work, they worked hard, and ultimately you just fell short. And I don't think it was a lack of effort or a lack of passion at all. It was just sometimes you just run out of gas, and but what this group did over the last 2 years, and to come in this year and be a part of it, it was a lot of fun. So I'm very grateful for it.
Obviously, you talk about being new to this team, and then you go up to Washington, come back down. When you're new to the locker room already and you're fluctuating up and down, how difficult is that for you?
I think it's difficult. Going room to room, it's not really too hard. But to go up for a whole month and not play, and to come in and pretty much right in the thick of it and try and make a difference, that's tough. But I was glad to come back down and to try to do what I could to help this team win. And it just sucks that we just couldn't get the job done.
What's different about this organization from any other that you've played with?
I guess the difference would be, for the AHL level, it feels like NHL hockey when you're in the home arena. The fans are passionate, everybody cares. You get treated very well here. I think Hershey's a great spot. And that's just that. You have an expectation to win here. Just like, any team you go on in the NHL, you're expected to win. You're paid to perform. And I think fans should be very happy with this organization and what they got for the 2 years prior, and they should be looking forward to the future, because this organization cares and so does Washington, about putting a winning team together in this organization.
This season's like a marathon season. The playoffs are a sprint. I wonder it's the third time in a row, so it's kind of I guess the mileage caught up to you guys, but how do you prepare for a marathon where you want to play one gear and then when the playoffs come to try to kick it into another gear?
I think it starts before the playoffs. You want to, because the intensity in the playoffs obviously rises. There's more at stake, a little bit more pressure. but it starts, throughout the regular season, building your systems, figuring out your teammates' tendencies, how to work together. And it starts with that drive inside you, how much do you really want to win? How much do you really care about this game? Because if you want to make a run, you have to really care, because you're going to really put your body through a lot. And the other team wants to win just the same, so you got to want it more. And that's why it's hard to win 3 in a row. It's mentally taxing. It's hard on the body. You get short summers, so you can't recover. You can't get as strong as other guys. And you know what? It's tough. So, I could see. I wouldn't say I seen a lot of guys just done with the year and wanting to get home. No, I don't think that was the case. I just think, I just think, you just fell short. Like like I said, I couldn't pinpoint on 1 or 2 things on what it really was that, it couldn't make us win a game. I think they were close games every time, except this last one when we were desperate and, it gave up a lot of goals against. But that's just what happens when you're down 2-0.
You talk about the chemistry, and in this league, it's so hard to find that because players are moving around. And I wonder how you guys were able to find that. I mean, throughout the season, you guys still won the division and still a successful season. When you have, including yourself, players going up and down, it's hard. You don't have the same line one day or another.
Yeah. You know what? I think it is kind of easier down here to build a little bit more chemistry, if that makes sense. I think you're together a lot more, especially with those long bus rides. You're together, and and you know what? And you're not in a huge city, so when you're always trying to find things to do with one another. And I think the chemistry was there this year. But at the same time, I can't compare it to the years prior. Like I wasn't here when that all happened, but you know what? But what I can say is just, we gave it our all, and that's just sad.
You've been one more from Ed.
As somebody that came in and wasn't part of it last year, what's something that maybe you learned, a lesson, something that you could take from this season, from this group, that you could take moving forward wherever you may end up next year, year after?
I really don't know. Like, I guess what I could take is, how fun it was to play, hockey again. How fun it was to play in the playoffs again. Even though I only got 2 games, but, for me personally, I needed this year to come in and play a lot of hockey and have fun. And that's what this team does, is they have fun. We played a lot of games this year where we were always coming back. But that doesn't mean we're a bad team. It just sometimes when you're playing fun, you make mistakes, and it happens. But the passion to stay in it and win that game, I think that's what shows your character. And those are a lot of big learning points for a lot of young guys. And there's a lot of good young players in this organization. And we'll just, for myself personally, I had a fun year. This was what I needed. I don't know what the future holds, but in terms of what I could take from it is just pretty much growing my passion and my love for the game again.